This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the 2018 NFL Coaching Carousel here on the Louie T Network. Of course, I'm your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Black Monday has come and gone. Some coaches were shown the door. Others shown new life. Some teams still mulling over their decision as to whether to keep or to move on from their head coach and potentially their GM. Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in a very precarious situation as the season hit its final game, as their head coach, Dirk Koetter, had a bit of a regression this season with his team. Remember last year, it's a Bucs team that was knocking on the door of making the postseason at 9-7. A lot of people picked the Bucs as a chic pick to be an upstart team in the league in 2017, make some noise, make the playoffs, and compete with Jameis Winston under center, with all the new targets, with the tight end position being upgraded, with O.J. Howard, with Deshaun Jackson coming in as a deep threat to stretch the field opposite Mike Evans. You had Cameron Brate, who was arguably one of the best red zone targets in the league in 2016, coming back. This looked like a star-studded offense, and all you needed was the right guy in the backfield to run the football, and this offense was going to be complete. It didn't turn out that way, and Koetter at times looked befuddled. The kicking position was a mess. It's been a mess since Jason Light has come on board and made the idiotic decision to draft Roberto Aguayo and trade up into the second round and get him. I disagree with that move then. You saw the way that it turned out. But nonetheless, they've had a problem with the field goal kicking position. It cost them 2 games late this season. It cost them a couple of games early in the season. And this could have been a totally different year. And I think when the brass of the Buccaneers took a step back and assessed that situation and said, if we would have had a better kicking situation to start the season and to finish the season, we probably would have been an 8-9 win team. You make some plays here and there. You don't have some of the injuries that we've had, and maybe a little bit more continuity, which is, I think, why Dirk Koetter is still here, is for the sake of continuity. You can't continue to make changes if you're looking to grow as an organization. Make no mistake about it. If this team isn't good this year, if they don't take a quantum leap forward, Dirk Koetter's gone next year. But I was talking to my man Reed, huge Bucs fan, and he asked me several times, late stages of the season, is Dirk Koetter going to get fired? And I said, no. Here's why. They just extended Jason Light on a 1-year deal. That extension to me says, and it screams, Light's going to be back, Koetter's going to be back. If this thing doesn't work, both of their asses gone next season. So essentially, both of their asses are right to the fire right now. Huge offseason for those guys. They've not only got to make some smart moves in free agency, they've got to make some shrewd moves in the draft, but they've got to get these players to perform when the season comes. And look, we mock kickers all the time. We poo-poo kickers, and we talk about them not being players and how insignificant they are. The Buccaneers need to fix that position this offseason, and whether it's drafting a young, talented college kicker, or it's going out in free agency and plucking the best free agent kicker you can, you got to fix that one, and you got to fix that problem ASAP, because it cost you this year, it cost you last year, and it's going to continue to cost you if you don't fix it. This team regressed defensively this year. They had a ton of injuries. Vernon Hargreaves was out. A lot of your younger guys that are talented were out this year. Noah Spence was out. Couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback. That needs to be resolved in the offseason as well. But can't fix everything in one offseason. But I think they made the right decision to bring Koetter back. There at one point was grumblings about the relationship between Winston and Koetter. If that was strained, then Koetter needed to go, because he was brought in primarily because of his offensive mind and his ability to work with quarterbacks. And so if he couldn't get on the same page with Winston, then he needed to go. I don't think there's any strain there whatsoever. There may be a little bit of a riff in terms of some philosophical differences. Winston is a gunslinger. Koetter would prefer him to take care of the football a little bit better, not make some of the decisions, and be a little stronger with the football in the pocket, not fumbling every time he gets hit like he did in the Carolina game. That being said, in terms of philosophy and mindset, I think they're on the same page. These two make beautiful music together. You saw Winston slinging the football all around the field late in the season. So I think there's nothing wrong with their relationship. Winston needs to take care of the football better, and I think that's what Koetter is trying to pound into his brain. I just don't know if Winston is capable of not trying to make the big play and at some point saying, you know what, we lost on this snap, we'll get him next snap. He's a guy that thinks he can win every single snap, and sometimes it's to his detriment. But nonetheless, I think Koetter deserves another year. Again, continuity is key. You had a lot of young guys that got injured. You had a lot of veterans come onto this team and not assimilate themselves well, like Deshaun Jackson, like Chris Baker on the defensive side. So another year in the system for those guys. You hope they perform better. You hope you get the young guys back healthy and they perform at their highest levels. And all of a sudden, you can rectify this thing. But I think Koetter is the right man. Maybe you need to upgrade defensive coordinator. I didn't love what Mike Smith did for this Buccaneers defense. But again, a lot of injuries. But you need pressure on the quarterback. You know, there's only so much blame you can pass to the coordinator when you're not generating any pressure on the quarterback. This Buccaneers team was one of the worst in the league at bagging quarterbacks. You don't get to the other team's quarterback, you're going to get carved up. That's what happened to the Bucs this year. And so they need to get more pressure on the quarterback. They need their linebackers to stay healthy, and they need the secondary to be better. Brent Grimes, who's 967 years old, can't be your best cornerback, but that's what he was this season. And going into next year, he may still be your best cornerback, and he's thinking about even hanging up his cleats and calling it quits. So we'll see what happens with this Buccaneers football team in the offseason. They thought they could get their hands on John Gruden. One team that he used to coach has a shot at him. It, unfortunately, wasn't his Buccaneers team. If, in fact, Gruden made a decision to come back and said Tampa was his destination, I think Koetter would be gone. But I think Gruden said, I look at the Raiders situation, I look at the Bucs situation. I'm a legend in Tampa already. I won a Super Bowl there. I don't need to go back there. What I've done, they put me in the Ring of Fame. What I've done there speaks for itself. I got unfinished business in Oakland, and I think Dirk Koetter has unfinished business in Tampa. So I love the decision to not get rid of him. But I tell you what, Jason Light needs to draft better. He needs to do a better job than he's done in Tampa thus far. And so, big year. I can't state that enough. Big year is an understatement. This is a massive year for both Dirk Koetter and Jason Light. They don't get it right in 2018, they can both say good night and turn out the light on their way out of Tampa Bay next season. So that's going to do it for the coaching carousel for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this whole time, I was talking without showing you that logo. But there's the Buccaneer logo right there. Bucs are on the clock for me this season. Light and Koetter are on the clock. And if they make the right moves in free agency in the draft, and they get Winston to stay healthy and be more turnover conscious, take care of the football in the pocket, two hands on the football, not fumbling, not making the daredevil throw, and just taking what the defense gives them sometimes. Look, there are going to be some times where he tries to fit a ball in a tight spot, or he throws into double coverage trying to get Mike Evans the football and throws a pick. It's going to happen. You can live with some of those. But it's the ones where you're like, bruh, no, you can't do that. The one where he's getting tackled against Green Bay and trying to throw it, and it goes into the defensive lineman's hands, and Dean Lowry is running for a touchdown in a game that you had no business losing to the Green Bay Packers. It's those games and those decisions and those mistakes that make you throw up in your mouth and make you say, Jameis, you can't do that. I think Dirk Koetter's the right man for the job, though. But time will tell. We will see. That's going to do it for the Buccaneers and their coaching carousel. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. More coaching carousel to come. Don't you go anywhere. I'm your man, Louie T. See you in a bit.